for free, which is amazing. If you've been to a 4-year school, you know the first maybe 2 years of your college experience, it's your prereqs, right? It's your English and your foreign language and your history. So go do that at an inexpensive community college, and then you can transfer to the big state school if that's where you want to graduate from. But there are so many ways, and even online classes. I mean, there's so many options. But number one, go to an affordable school. Number two is to apply for things like scholarships, grants, and work study. This is free money. Free money. I was speaking at a university in Texas, and I was riding the elevator up with the girl, the student who was like sponsoring the event. And she said, Rachel, I have to just tell you, I grew up with a single mom. And she said, I'm about to graduate in May. She was a senior in college. She said, but my senior year of high school, during Christmas break, my mom sat me down and she said, you are to apply for 2 scholarships every single day until you graduate. She let her off on the weekends, but for 5 days a week, she had to apply for 2 scholarships a day. And she said, Rachel, I was so mad. She said, we got in so many fights. She said, I started running out of places to find them. I had to ask random people about scholarships. Like, I went crazy because I was like, I didn't want to be grounded, and I would get grounded if I didn't do it. And she looked at me, though, in that elevator. I'll never forget it. And she said, but I'm a senior. I'm about to graduate with no debt and $4,000 saved in the bank. I was like, you're a unicorn. You don't exist. But I looked at her, I hugged her because I was like, you need to go home, give your mom this hug from me and from you. Because what an incredible mom, you guys. Stepping in, loving her well, even when it was hard. And she set that daughter up for the most amazing future. Absolutely incredible. And I talked to some students and they're like, well, it's just a $500 scholarship. Like, it's a drop in the bucket compared to my whole tuition. I'm like, it's gonna take you about 15 minutes to fill out that form. You make $500 in 15 minutes. Sign me up. It's a great job, right? That's your part-time job. Make all the money you can. Free money, scholarships, and grants. And the third way to go to school debt-free, it's gonna be kind of a shock, so just stay with me. But get a job. How many of you worked while you were in school? When you're alive. It's amazing. And actually, studies show students that can work 20 hours a week can actually pay their way through an in-state school. Oh, but Rachel, my son wakes up every day and eats breakfast, goes to the library, goes to class, goes back to the library, eats lunch, goes back to class, goes back to the library, eats dinner, goes back to the library. He doesn't have time. He doesn't have time to work or his grades might slip. I'm like, little Johnny's probably not doing most of that, if we could just be honest. And yes, he does, because students that work 10 to 19 hours a week graduate with GPAs higher than students that don't work. Isn't that a shock? Like, yeah, because they can't sit on the couch and eat Doritos and watch reality TV all day. They actually have to have time management and they have to be productive. It's an incredible, incredible thing. But all of these things together, whether financially you're able to help your children pay for college or you help guide them through these tips to help them go to school debt-free, I'm telling you, parents, this is such a gift. Because you're giving your kids the gift of not starting their lives off in a financial hole, but you're giving them the gift to start their lives on financial, solid ground where they get to build their futures. It's absolutely incredible.
My name's Sam, and I graduated debt-free. It was a combination of my parents' sacrifices for me and my sisters to believe in our education, but also I worked as a resident assistant and summer jobs to pay for school.
My parents helped me, and I taught loads of music lessons.
So, baby step 1's $1,000. Baby step 2, debt snowball. We're gonna work through the debts. We don't have any payments now. How's that feel? It feels good, doesn't it? Say yes. Now, once we've got no debt, then we finish the emergency fund, like Chris said, 3 to 6 months of expenses set aside for your emergencies. You don't do baby step 3 before you do baby step 2. Baby step 2 is before baby step 3. That's why we call it baby step 2. And baby step 1's first. That's why we call it baby step 1. You don't need to fix this. Do it in order. Submit yourself to the process. Try something different. Lay yourself out. Now, once you get through the first 3 baby steps and you got that emergency fund in place, then baby steps 4, 5, and 6 are in order of priority, but they are simultaneous. The first ones, you don't do one before you do the other, okay? But these 4 you do simultaneous. 15% of your income going into retirement. We didn't make that 20 so that you had some money to throw to the kids' college. All the money works. All the case studies work out that way. The math works in the average budget that way. So now we got money to throw into baby step 5 into college, and any other money we find beyond that, we move on to baby step 6, which means we're going to pay off the house early. Woo! Yeah. No house payment, baby. Now, if you don't have a house, that's okay. Rent. It's okay. You can rent for a little while. Rent something cheap. Because rent is temporary. You're camping. It's temporary. The cheaper you rent, the faster you get to buy, right? And so you get out of debt, you save up a good emergency fund, you save up a good strong down payment. I don't yell at you for taking out a mortgage, but I prefer the 100% down plan. If you're going to take out a mortgage, a 15-year fixed, where the payment is no more than a fourth of your take-home pay, is the max, because the whole idea is we're going to turn around and do baby step 6 anyway. We're going to pay this baby off. Because when you don't have a house payment, baby, the numbers start to change big time. The average person working this stuff gets out of debt, pays off their house and everything in about 7 years. That's the data we've got on the people working this stuff with Gazelle Intensity. The data we got from the millionaire study says the average millionaire pays off their home in 10.2 years. Well, I can pay off my home too if I was a millionaire. No, you missed the point. You get to be a millionaire because you don't have a freaking house payment, okay? That's how this works. You saw all that compound interest with the stuff that Chris does in baby step 4 and how Jack and Blake work, right? You got to get this stuff working for you instead of against you. And when you don't have the house payment, that's how this stuff works. But Dave, if I pay off my house, I'll lose the tax deduction. Have you heard that one? Now that one goes around all the time. Well, let's do some data, some actual real-world math instead of this theoretical stuff from your broke brother-in-law at Thanksgiving, okay? But the real world is, last year, 30% of Americans itemized. The only way you get to write off your home mortgage interest is if you itemize. So 70% of Americans did not get to write off their home mortgage, even if they had a home mortgage. And in 2018, the tax law changed. And the standard deduction doubled. So let me tell you what that means. Almost no one is going to go from 30% down to about 5 to 7% are going to actually do itemization. It's going to be standard deduction across the board almost, which means this whole idea of keeping a home mortgage because of the tax deduction is mythology for most people. But for you super nerds, let's work through the hypothetical, okay? Let's take a $200,000 mortgage and let's pretend you're itemizing. You're one of those rare that do. But take a $200,000 mortgage at 5%. That means you paid $10,000 in interest that year. 5% of $200,000 is $10,000. Does that sound right? Say yes. Okay, no trick math here. I'm not going to trick you, I promise. All right, so that means if you itemize, you can take that $10,000 as a tax deduction, and it saves you on your taxes. It doesn't save you $10,000, but it's a deduction off of your income that is taxable. Does that sound right? Say yes. Okay, now if you make $80,000 married filing jointly in the year 2018, that means you're in a 22% tax bracket. And so that means if you have a $10,000 tax write-off, it saves you 22% of that $10,000. So it saves you $2,200 in taxes. Does that sound right? Okay, now that means that there's idiots out there, people out there saying that you need to send the mortgage company $10,000 to keep from sending the government $2,200. And we call that sophisticated? I call it stupid. You know where I learned this? I got beat over the head with it. I was selling real estate in college in the hills of East Tennessee, and I sold this farmer a piece of ground. It was $90,000, and we were going to the closing table, and he comes in real overalls, the bib overalls, the real thing. And he reaches in the top of the bib overalls and put $90,000 on the table. And I said, "Oh, you don't want to do that, man." I said, "Your farm is a business. You can write off the interest." And I said, you need the tax deduction. You need to get a loan instead of paying cash for it. And he looks at me and he goes, "You're in college, aren't you?" I said, "Yes, sir. How did you know?" So he walks me through this idea that I'm trading a dollar for a quarter. $10,000 for $2,200. And somehow some professor has figured out with tenure that this is smart. It's not smart. If your CPA can't add, it's a good thing to fire a CPA that can't add. You need the tax deduction. Don't pay off your mortgage. Fire them. Because they're telling you to trade dollar for a quarter. And that's only if you itemize. Most of the time, this is a hypothetical discussion. So pay off your mortgage. Pay off your mortgage. You had no payments. Let me tell you what it does. It sets you free. The borrower is slave to the lender. You have a whole different way of looking at things when you don't have a mortgage. See, we've done detailed, in-depth research, and 100% of the foreclosures occur on a home with a mortgage. You pay off your mortgage, here's what I want you to do. You pay off your mortgage, you tear up that mortgage, I want you to take your shoes off. I want you to walk through the backyard. Let me tell you what, the grass feels different. It's mine. It's mine. Never again. Never again. Never again is my family going to be in that situation. We're not going to be left vulnerable to those people ever again. I don't have a mortgage. Nor will I ever have a house that has a mortgage. Nor will I ever have a building or a piece of real estate that has a mortgage. I got a bunch of real estate, a bunch of houses, but I will never have a mortgage again. The grass feels different under your feet. It's the way to live. It changes everything, you guys. It changes your legacy. You just do these, $150 becomes $1 million. What does $2,500 a month that used to be a house payment become? Well, you can afford some new shoes, I can tell you that. And you can walk around in the backyard on that grass and say, I don't know if I can get them back on or not. No. Walk around in the backyard on that grass and say, that's mine. We own this. Never again are you going to threaten me and my family with our place to live. Never again are you going to hold me over a barrel. Never again am I going to worry about this job and being able to, whether I've got a place to live or not. Never again am I going to be in this situation. It changes everything. It sets you free in ways you didn't even know you were captive. When you pay off your house, I promise you it changes things. If you pay it off and hate it, just go get you another mortgage. But you're not going to do that. I promise you're not going to do that. Baby step 6 is pay off the mortgage.
It's pretty surreal because I'd been holding my breath for so long that it's like, did we really do it? Did we really get there?
If you don't have a car payment, and you don't have a credit card payment, and you don't have a house payment, so that frees up money to give, generously.
And it's allowing us to not only have enough for ourselves, we can truly bless so many other people.
Our ability to give and my willingness to give and our actual giving has just exploded. When people have a need, in the past, I probably would close my eyes to it. Now, if somebody needs $1,000, great. Let's give them $1,000. And whoever God puts on our doorstep is who I'm going to help today.
My kids being able to go, they're going to be able to go to college with their college paid for. You know, they're not going to have to worry about anything extra. They're going to be able to focus on their studies. You don't have to worry about the extra stuff because mom and dad took care of what we needed to take care of. Mom and dad, we took responsibility, you know, for our lives and for, you know, so that our kids could have a better life than we did, you know.
God put us here to do some stuff, and that limits our ability to do stuff. That financial independence is powerful when you think about the ability to be meaningful parts of the community, both the local community, the church community, that changes somebody's life for the better. It is exhilarating.
It's more than I ever would have imagined, the amount of money that we're able to give and enjoy giving. But we did it. We got out of debt, and
Here we are.
here we are.
Baby step 7. Now we're there. We don't have any payments. We got an emergency fund. Retirement's underway. Kids' college is rocking. Nothing left to do now but build wealth and be outrageously generous. Outrageously generous. Let me tell you, it just changes everything. When you've got a couple $1 million, you know what $1,000 will do? $1,000 will buy a car for a single mom and change her life. You know what $10,000 will do? Do 10 of those. It changes everything, you guys. And you get yourself in a position where you don't have to worry about your place because you got a little bit of money here. You're an everyday millionaire. You can relax a little bit. And all of a sudden you take your eyes not only off yourself and not only off of worrying about whether your kids and your family is going to be okay. Your family tree has changed. That check's written. It's done. Now you can look around and go, where can we be a conduit for God? Where can we show up and change something? Where can we do something different? And you get to enjoy the money. I want you to enjoy it too. You shouldn't be ashamed of winning. We've taught people in this country that you've done something wrong if you've won. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't steal any of it. You didn't hate anybody. You weren't mean to anybody. You weren't crooked. You just saved your money and lived on less than you made. Be proud of that. It's called being successful. And you should be proud of it, and you should do it with gusto. And a friend of mine grew up dirt poor, and he's now worth about $20 million. He's 70-something years old. And he's an incredible man. He's an incredible godly man and great dad, great granddad, a wonderful business leader, has just made a lot of money, and he's been very, very wise and very kind. He's a guy I'd like to be more like. You know what I'm saying? And so I was at breakfast with him a while back, and I said, tell me something cool you're doing. I like to talk to people worth $20 million, you know. Tell me something cool you're doing. He goes, well, when I was a kid, I used to dream of traveling. And then when I actually started making a little bit of money, I was working so hard, I was thinking someday when I can not work quite so hard, I'm going to take my whole family. And I mean like my grown kids and their spouses and my grandkids, the whole family on trips. And he said, so I just took my 3 kids, their spouses, and my 5 or 6 grandkids or whatever it was. He said, I just took them on a 2-week cruise in the Mediterranean. So we went to the Greek islands. So we stopped, saw Rome, went to Naples and ate pizza. He said, man, it was incredible. I said, okay, it's just us girls here at the coffee shop. I gotta know, what'd that cost? That's tacky to ask, isn't it? I said, what'd that cost? He said, well, I don't mind telling you, just don't tell anybody. I said, don't tell anybody, I just want to... Well, I'm not telling you who he is. He said it was $67,000 for 2 weeks. Well, he's got $20 million. It's like you buying a biscuit. He said, you know what else? I said, what else? He said, we came home. It was Christmas time. We got off the cruise right before, about 3 or 4 weeks before Christmas. And this guy doing a ministry in the inner city in the rough area of town with these kids that didn't have anything called me and he said, we want to buy some bicycles for these kids for Christmas and give them a bicycle from Jesus. And he said, would you help us out? And my buddy said, yeah, I'll help you out, sure. He said, I've always supported you. I think you're doing good work. He said, how many bicycles do you need? He said, what do you mean? He goes, well, I might just do it all. He goes, you kidding? He said, no. He said, he told him, he said, so we bought a couple tractor trailer loads of bicycles. He said, the only thing I want to do is I want my family to go down there with me, and we're all going to hand these bikes out with you. We want to work and help you do the delivery to the neighborhood. So these tractor trailers are rolling up with these bicycles, and this guy and his grown kids and his grandkids and his kids' spouses and all this stuff, they're handing their bikes off these things. And, you know, you handle bicycles, they whirl around, hit you and pinch you, and, you know, you got blood blisters, and you know what I'm talking about. Everything else just turns into work after a little while, you know. And he said, but every time you get a little bit disgusted or a little bit tired, because he said, there's a lot of bicycles. He said, you turn around, and there'd be a kid standing there with big old eyes. He said, mister, you got another one? I said, yeah, baby, we got another one. Jesus said, you need to have a bicycle this Christmas. And he said, we worked for 2 days handing out those bicycles to those kids. He said, you want to know what that cost? I said, yeah. $72,000. It's been 67, been 72. He said, you want to know where my family had the most fun? You know the answer, don't you? Bicycles. He said, but the cruise was good. You ought to do both. That's a position you want to put yourself in, where you can do something like that, and it's not a big decision. And some of you here will be able to do that exact kind of thing. It didn't change his life. 72,000 out of 20 million? That's interest for 2 months. It didn't change his life. And yet it changed his life. Because it puts you in a position where you just get to do that all the time. The more you do it, it's the most fun you'll ever have with money, by the way. It is giving it. You won't ever have that much fun with money doing it any other way. This letter just came to us the other day. The lady said, I want to let you know I've been an atheist my whole life, and religion and God have never made any sense to me. My neighbor invited me to come to a Dave Ramsey event in January at your church. She doesn't attend the church, so she just asked me so she didn't have to go alone. That weekend, we heard that you guys were offering Financial Peace University, and we decided to sign up and learn more about budgeting. Even though it was being held at the church, we decided to give it a try. One night after the class was over, each night after the lesson, there's a discussion, and we were sitting at the table discussing the video that we just watched, and we were all sharing areas that we were struggling in financially, and I didn't want to tell anyone my story. But after everyone else did, I thought maybe I should too. I told them I'm a single mom with 2 kids, and I had to take a part-time job at night just to pay my car payment and my insurance. It was taking everything I was making at that job, plus part of my other, just to make the $425 car payment. Once I told everyone that, there was a long pause. And that's when he did it. He reached in his pocket, he took a key off his key ring, and he threw it to me. He said, go sell your car and get rid of your payments. I'll bring you the title for that car next week. It's a 2013 Nissan Altima. He said, it's mine. I started to cry, and everybody else at the table started to cry. That's fun. The guy that sent this to me said, P.S. Susan was baptized into Christ this past weekend at our church. You won't have any more fun than you'll ever have with giving. It changes everything you're doing. And you got to get yourself in a position to be generous like that. We all got a lot of intentions. We all got a lot of things we want to do. We all got things we'd like to do, but we're trapped. We're not in a position to do it. So when you walk through this process, it puts you in a position to do that, to be that guy, to be the $20 million guy, to be the car guy. There's all kinds of stories we can tell like this, isn't it? We all know these stories. They all inspire us to be better people. I want to be like those people. I want to be that open-handed with the things that God has given me to manage. I like to think I am, but man, I read some of these stories, they just make me cry because it's so powerful what happens when people put themselves in a position to win with money. You see, I think you can do this. I know you. I believe in you. I'm proud of you. I've worked with people just like you that work just as hard as you work for the last 25 years of my life. And I've watched you and I've talked to you and I've had you come to visit our studios and scream that you're debt free. And I've had you call and write in and I've gotten to meet you and you tell me your story and how you persevered and how you clawed and how you scratched and how you lived like no one else so that later you can live like no one else and give like no one else. I know you. I believe in you. You can do this. And I need you to do this. This nation needs you to do this. It's time we decided that our dignity was in our own hands. It's time we decided that we can rise up and be somebody again, that it's not dependent on someone else. Your actions are going to dictate your future. So go live like no one else so that later you can live and give like no one else. God bless you.
Most stories that have a happy ending don't feel like it along the way. You know, we had a tough time, but basically what came out of it was a lot of wisdom, a lot of lessons.
You need to take care of money. You got to grab it and you've got to mold it. If I don't do that, it will mold me. It'll take over my life.
Money is a tool, but it doesn't define me. My personal integrity defines me.
You say no to the no's and yeses to the yeses, and you stay focused.
You have to keep pushing yourself towards wanting to do it. And you have to have some kind of internal fire that makes you want to be better. Like every day I want to be a better person than I am. I want to be a better Michelle than I am.
The whole point of learning this, beyond being able to handle our finances and beyond even the repair of our relationship, is to pass it on.
It was just a small sacrifice to stick to the plan, to get out of debt and do better for myself and for my children.
Knowing doesn't make a difference. It's doing that makes a difference. So you have to apply, you have to do the steps in order to make it happen in your life.
Don't wait on anybody else to do it for you. The government isn't going to help you. Nobody's coming in to help you. Do something about it. And don't do it tomorrow, do it today.
Yes, it may be difficult and it may take you longer, but if you have a plan and you stick to it, you're gonna accomplish it. I mean, it's with anything.
So now we can look back and say it's over. And we have been able to reach and overcome that mountain in our lives to be able to see what's ahead. And what is ahead is greatness.
The plan works at any income level. You know, if you do the right things with money, it makes a difference.
It truly has been life-changing. It's not just financial. It truly is life-changing.
We thought all we were doing was paying off the debt.
And we saved our marriage.
Saved the marriage, got out of debt, and built some wealth.
The hard work and persistence.
The tears, all of the frustration, all of the anger is so worth it, because now there's just peace and joy and
freedom.
Okay, we just came out of seeing all the baby steps, 1 through 7. These first 4 lessons lay out the whole plan for you and show you what to do. Now, you need to know, though, you're not done yet. Lessons 5 through 9 are all about life on the plan. You see, what wealthy people do is they don't just do the basic financial planning. They also have a good offense and a good defense. You've got to have both. Now, so in other words, you could do all this stuff 1 through 7 on the baby steps and make one big dumb mistake and lose everything because you didn't have a defense. Or not really turn the gas up, turn the heat up on your wealth building, and you miss out on the offense and don't build the wealth to the level you should. So you got the framework, the jet's off the ground, now we need to fly, okay? And that's what we're gonna do. So lesson 5 is all about wise spending. We're gonna fight off everything that's trying to get at your money so that you're confident and you're in control of your spending. Lesson 6 is insurance. Nobody likes insurance. Nobody likes talking about it. I don't like talking about it. It sounds boring. But let me tell you what, having the right coverage in place is everything as a defense to protect, and not buying a bunch of stuff that rips you off is a good defense as well. So we're going to show you what you need and what you don't need, and you're going to understand insurance maybe for the first time in your life. It'll be fun, I promise. Lesson 7 is all about investing. Now, you got a quick overview from Chris Hogan in Baby Step 4, but now it's time to deep dive into investing. This is offense. This is where you're going to learn to build wealth so you can be an everyday millionaire and put yourself in a position that you can give like crazy. Lesson 8 is real estate and mortgages. You're going to find out how to buy a home on a plan that works, a home you love, and a home you get to own. Ooh, there's an idea. And then finally, my favorite is lesson 9. This is where you're going to learn to give like no one else. The live and give like no one else part. This is awesome. So just because you have the 7 baby steps in these first 4 lessons, you're just off the ground now. You got to finish. You got to play through because you need the offense and the defense, all right? You got to have both. Don't miss these next lessons. Now, it's time for your 1-minute takeaway. Write down one thing that you're going to do this week based on what you've learned.
Okay, guys, I'm not going to turn the camera around and turn it off because then it's a whole new video. So I didn't realize that when I did it the first time. But that was kind of a long video, so I'm just going to go ahead and get to the action steps and let you guys get on your way because, you know, they covered a lot of information there. That was longer than the other videos. But real quick, I wanted to say that I really hope you're getting the gist of this information through these videos. They're powerful. The things that Dave talks about and Chris and his daughter, Dave's daughter, talk about are incredible things. So if there's anything you're not understanding, I mean, please reach out to us. We're happy to help you in any way that we can. So with that said, the action steps for next week are schedule a budget committee meeting. You're coming up on your next budget cycle. Remember, it takes about 3 months to get the budget right, so don't get frustrated if you've screwed it up or messed it up. It happens to all of us. If you're married, schedule your next budget committee meeting. Singles, don't forget